Cool. All right, so great. So I am going to share my screen. Oops, minimize, move this, present. Okie dokie. All right, so this is one of our last mini workshops, and they've been super fun. I like doing the little ones just to take, a quick 20 minutes, half an hour out of your time. And like I said, I can stay and answer some questions afterwards too. So tonight's topic is urinary, bladder, kidneys, and liver. So bladder health, here's just sort of a, little diagram of their anatomy, but the bladder stores the urine, basically. It's then removed from the body through the urethra. Crystals can occur, urinary tract infections can occur, cystitis can occur, are some of the most common. Some bladder support, basic support, is hydration, hydration, hydration. This is really important, especially if your dog is on a kibble diet. So if your dog's on a kibble diet, it has zero hydration, and it's really important that you make extra effort to get your dog to drink. A whole food diet, of course, you know that I am a huge proponent of a raw food diet or a whole food cooked diet. Those are my two first choices. And then if you did have to do a kibble diet, then adding some whole food live enzymes foods are really, really important. We're going to talk about that on Thursday. That's our next class, nutrition. So I'm not going to dive too deep in that. You've heard my spiel over the last month. Single ingredient treats, really, they don't need all the extra preservatives and additives. A single ingredient freeze-dried beef or freeze-dried lung, or even vegetables. My guys, like my Buka, he's a fatty patty, so he gets he gets snow peas as a treat. He gets cucumbers today as a treat. Those are wonderful, and they're loaded with hydration. So down here in Florida, I do a lot of cucumbers and a lot of watermelon. Remove chemical pesticides, flea and tick preventatives. Those are pesticides going through your dog's bloodstream. Heartworm preventatives, traditional ones, pesticides going through your dog's bloodstream. Lawn chemicals, household pest treatments. Detox your home from household cleaners, pet shampoos. They are one of the most toxic. Ear cleaners, laundry detergents, fabric softeners, air fresheners. These are all known carcinogens. And adding probiotics to your dog's diet to balance their digestive health. So some bladder support. So this is Dr. Becker and Rodney Habib. These are some studies. Bladder cancer, we were just talking about this. Bladder cancer, lymphoma are a huge problem and directly related to lawn chemicals that are sprayed. 76% of dogs that tested have lawn chemicals in their urine following home lawn care. Worse is when they are professionally applied pesticides. And so your dog is 70% higher risk of developing cancer. And the thing I posted on Facebook earlier is the very worst place to walk your dog is on a golf course because they're treated so often. So we'll talk about the first most common bladder infections. Some typical signs of a urinary tract infection are frequent urge to urinate. It may or may not contain blood. One great way, if you're not sure what you're seeing, is my little Bella on and off has had a little UTI. I put a paper towel under her when she goes tinkle, and I can see if there's blood on it. So now you can address that. You may see your dog licking that area. Inappropriate urination. She likes to pee like right where I'm going to see it, just so I know that something's going on. So that sometimes if a dog is having an accident, instead of reprimanding, you might want to actually take a urine sample to the vet first. just to make sure it's not a physical problem. General restlessness, if they're, just can't get comfortable waking you up in the middle of the night. Lots of spotting, she pees a lot. This is different from male dogs. Like, Buka's just doing it because he wants to mark the entire neighborhood. But if it's different or if it's unusual for your pet, then you want to be a little bit more concerned. And these are some of the products that I use when she does have a UTI. I actually use it proactively too. So first things first, pre and probiotics, very, very important. Juniper berry is phenomenal support for the bladder and the kidneys. And so I use that with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil, diluted for her size dog. And I'll make sure, of course, you get that dilution chart again you can decide your dog's weight. And I apply it every 2 hours to her abdomen. And then the berry balance, generally speaking, when they have a urinary tract infection, they have acidic urine. So you want to get that balance back. Some other support is, like I said, her probiotic, I up that. So normally she gets one in the evening. But when she does have any type of possible bladder infection, she gets one in the morning and one in the evening. You can never have too many pre and probiotics in your body. I use a berry powder to balance the pH of her urine. I'm going to show you in the next couple slides the one I love. Bella's pH tends to jump up to about 9, and it really should be around 7.5. And so when I think something might be going on, I start adding that berry powder back in. Stops it almost immediately. And again, the juniper berry every 2 hours topically. It's antiseptic, antispasmodic, it's astringent, it's a great cleanser, detoxifier, diuretic. So it's phenomenal for their urinary health. And I increase her greens in her food. So I'll increase her spinach, her Swiss chard. This increases the oxygen in her blood. And it's a really powerful antioxidant. So bladder, crystals, and stones. So some causes of this, some are genetics. Many is diet. Again, that dehydrated kibble diet, or if it's a diet that's not species appropriate and doesn't have high protein, or a diet that has grains in it. Kidney function can also cause some crystals. Environment, like we talked about, detoxing the environment. Urine concentration of water. The urine pH is off, like we said, acidic and alkaline. And the solubility of the substances that are in the urine. That's really, really important. So what you put into your dog can actually cause crystals. And, like you've heard me say, you're either feeding disease or fighting disease with every bite that your dog takes. So here's some breeds that are prone to like calcium oxalate crystals in their urine. Miniature schnauzers, Yorkies, Lhasas, miniature poodles. My Brussels Griffon, she's prone to these. She's had these in her urine before, and then I immediately do a detox. And we'll talk about that. Dachshunds, English bulldogs, mastiffs, Newfies, they're prone to the cystine crystals in their urine. Dalmatians, English bulldogs tend to have ammonia crystals in their urine. Cavaliers. So it can be genetics, but that doesn't mean that your dog is definitely going to get that. It just means that you have to take extra care to turn off that button so it doesn't happen. So some other support, and these are ones that work phenomenally for me. Of course, I feed a lot of organic greens, and the organic parsley is a wonderful, gentle diuretic. Helps the kidneys operate smoothly, helps everything filter. Very, very safe. You can never have too much parsley. You can do fresh parsley. I'll just take it and chop it up and add it to their food. You can dry it if you want to dehydrate it yourself. You can make a parsley tea, and the recipe is down here. And This is great if a dog is on kibble. So if a dog's on kibble, you can make this parsley tea and add it to his kibble. So you're adding that hydration as well. Organic dandelion. I belong to an organic food co-op down here, and I get a huge batch of organic dandelion every single week. Buka gets it. All three of them get it, but Buka in particularly. Dandelion leaves are another phenomenal diuretic, keeps the kidneys and the bladder functioning. And then here's my dandelion tea recipe down here. And so you just infuse it for 5 or 10 minutes in some water, cool it, add it to your dog's food. You can do 1/3 of a cup per 20 pounds, up to 3 times a day if you're having a challenge. But those two, in addition to your probiotics, your juniper berry and your berry balance, couple days, you'll wipe that right out. So here's some of those other tools that I was telling you about. These are urinary test strip. And so these are a staple in my house. If I think there's anything wrong, I grab that ladle and we go out and I grab some urine and I just test it. I know whether her pH is up or down. Actually, my little bean, my little palm, had a little irritation around her vulva. And so I just grabbed that test strip. I tested it. She was a little acidic. So then I added my Red Rover organic berry blend. I love this berry blend. I know it's a little bit hard to probably see here, but it's organic blueberries and raspberries and cranberries. There's no other, it says right there, none, no other fillers in here. And this one is immediate. If I give her morning and night a little bit of this powder in their food, by the next day, their pH is normal. And then this is actually from a holistic vet. She's actually moved. She used to be in Hopkinton, Mass, which we loved her, and she's moved to Arizona. But K2 supplement, the MK7, is the best with no vitamin D. That's very, very important. No vitamin D. Highest dose you can find. I have the 100 milligrams. You can give this 2 to 3 times a day. What this does is move the calcium from the blood into the skeletal tissue, so there's less calcium in the urine. Very, very helpful. And then there are definite foods to avoid for dogs that are prone. So there's foods that contain calcium oxalate. There's foods that are super high protein. You know, you may have had an older dog and the vet said, you got to be on a low protein diet if the kidney values are starting to elevate. Salt, because salt is extremely dehydrating and we want as much hydration as possible. Food that contains an abundant amount of vitamin C. And the reason for that is because that makes the urine more acidic. And these are some foods that you want to avoid if your dog is having a kidney or bladder challenge. You want to avoid beets and spinach and nuts and kale. Kale, especially if your dog is prone to stones, kale is loaded with calcium and it should be avoided for your dog. You definitely want to avoid a vegetarian or a cereal-based diet. These are likely to create a really alkaline urine, which promotes the struvite crystals, which we're seeing a lot of. I think this month I probably have had at least 25 clients send me their urine and they've got some struvite crystals in them. Apples, bananas, cabbage, broccoli, potatoes, pumpkin. So there's several foods that you definitely want to avoid if you do have a challenge. And of course, you're going to have this replay, so you'll have those foods. Kidney health. So the kidneys filter the blood, so they remove the waste from the body. And when we adopted Buka, he was not in kidney failure, but he was headed that way. He had very, very elevated kidney values. And so the blend that I use is 3 drops of copaiba, 3 drops of frankincense, and 6 drops of juniper berry in a 10 ml roller bottle. And I top it off with fractionated coconut oil. And I apply this to his kidneys twice a day. So for him, I'm going to, because I can't really apply it to his back. I applied it to the abdomen where the kidney area was, because he has less fur there. You can always mix this up in a dropper bottle if you have a super furry dog, and apply it to that area. Standard process, which a lot of vets use, has some really great canine supplements that are supportive. Canine whole body support and canine renal support if your dog is heading towards kidney failure. That has been very, very helpful for us. Omegas for a small dog, 1 capsule twice a day. For large dogs, you're going to do the 2 capsules twice a day. Only the XEO omega. I do not recommend any omegas that are on the market. 96% of omegas on the market have heavy metal toxins in. So only doTERRA's XE omega. That is super important, because if you add heavy metal toxins to a dog that's in renal failure or renal challenges, you will throw him into renal failure. Diet is the most critical. Of course, I recommend a raw diet. Raw diet is 70% water, and it promotes healthy kidney function, whereas kibble keeps the dog in a constant state of dehydration. This is a direct quote from Dr. Karen Becker. The key to kidney support with diet is low phosphorus and high omegas. You can also diffuse the copaiba and the juniper berry. Copaiba, I should have mentioned up above, is it helps increase circulation. And then, of course, we talked about the benefits of juniper berry. And I like to add lemon too. It's very cleansing, very purifying. I add lemon, 1 drop of lemon to my dog's water, to 2 cups of water every morning anyways, for their oral health, so that plaque can no longer mineralize and turn into tartar. So this is also supporting removing any of those petrochemicals from their body. I know a couple of you are on our 30-day human detox with me, human cleanse. And so of course, we're drinking our lemon water every day. It's cleansing our kidneys, our liver, and our bladder. And encourage hydration throughout the day. If your dog's not a big drinker, or you feel that they're not hydrated enough, perhaps you're feeding, like I said, a kibble diet, or maybe you live in a hot environment, adding bone broth to their water helps encourage it, makes it taste a little better. Ice cubes are great. Also frozen treats. I used to make this big block. I take one of their stainless steel bowls and I put in toys and treats and vegetables. And then I put in their filtered water, freeze it. And on a hot day, I'd let them sit out on the lanai by the pool, and they're trying to get all these treats out on this big ice block. And that is a great way to hydrate them. So here's the difference between chronic and acute kidney failure. Chronic is it's over time. It's from the food that we feed. It's from dehydration. It's from over vaccinating. It's from using pesticides. It's from just all of these things building up in the kidney over time. So dogs, you may see a senior dog's levels elevate a little by little by little every year. Acute kidney failure is they may have had a toxic reaction to a pharmaceutical or a medication. They may have gotten into something. Buka, when we adopted him, was in acute kidney failure. He had gotten into rat poison. And so that threw him immediately into kidney failure. And then, of course, here's some of the signs: loss of appetite, extreme lethargic, physical weakness. They can really be struggling, loss of coordination, and vomiting. We don't always see that with chronic kidney failure. The signs are a little bit less obvious. That's why it is so critical that you take your pet to the vet every single year, at least once a year. For a senior, I recommend twice a year. I do blood work and a urine analysis on my dogs twice a year. The only way we know what's going on inside their body is to do some blood work and urinalysis. This is one of my other favorite cleansing products. We detox our dogs twice a year in our home. And Zendocrine is one of the products that we use. We can't control everything out there. So by doing the detox, we're able to facilitate their organs and help them eliminate some of these toxins that they're encountering, the air that they breathe, or, a puddle they walked in, something like that. So it's support for the kidney, the gallbladder, it's liver cleansing. It removes that heavy metal, constipation, urinary tract, weight and gut support, endocrine hormone, adrenal fatigue, and exhaustion. So the Zendocrine is something that I recommend that you do twice a day for 30 days, at least twice a year. If you have a dog that is struggling with some challenges, so Buka is older, and because he came to me with acute kidney failure, I do 30 days on and 30 days off with him. 30 days on, 30 days off. We are in a maintenance pattern right now. His blood work is normal. So we do not have any type of kidney challenges or liver challenges. So the 30 days on, 30 days off keeps him stable. So this is pretty big. What's your dog drinking? Up here on the top, this is a website. If you have not put your tap water in here, you may want to. It's the Environmental Working Group Organization, the EWG. And so if you type in this, you put your zip code in, and it will bring up how many contaminants are detected in your particular tap water. So this is my house on Cape Cod. I put in that zip code. So we've got 8 contaminants that exceed the EWG guidelines. I've got 19 other contaminants, and here's just a couple of them. This one particular one is 17 times over the legal limit. This one's 5.7 times. All 4 of these right here, actually all 19 of these, when I looked them up, are carcinogens. So I would never, ever, ever feed my dog tap water. Never. Where we live here in Florida, I think Florida water is horrendous anyways. So if you don't have a filter, then you may want to buy bottled water. And a purified bottled water is a really great option. This is one of the areas that we can really control for our dogs. And so the liver is such an incredible organ. It removes potentially toxic byproducts from medications, from your vaccinations. It metabolizes, breaks down nutrients that are produced from food, turns them into energy. It produces, this is really cool, it produces most of the proteins needed by the body, right? That is pretty cool. So it's really important to keep this organ very, very clean. It produces most of the substances that regulate blood clotting. And one of the other areas is if you have a dog that is struggling with any type of allergies or skin, everything starts in the liver. So if the liver is not functioning correctly, it will outwardly affect the skin. So dogs that are struggling with allergies, I always, always, always do a liver detox with them. First things first. The liver, if it can no longer filter the blood and eliminate the toxins, that's when liver disease occurs. And what's happening right now is, of course, we've got this overload of toxins, household cleaners, especially right now. Everybody is using bleach and Lysol, and they're overloading their dogs. And we are seeing a ton of kidney and liver changes and challenges in the dogs. That's actually a new statistic. I should have put that in here. I just kind of ran out of time. So when the liver malfunctions, these toxins spread to other organs like the brain. Then what happens is we've got dogs that are seizuring now. So we're seeing a lot of dogs that are starting to seizure, and it all stems from the liver. Things that damage the liver, we talked about these flea and tick meds, heartworm meds, drugs, chemical cleaners, vaccinations. We don't always have a choice with the tattoo or the microchip. If we've adopted a dog, the tattoo ink is also affects the liver. Pollution, viruses, flame retardant, pesticides, autoimmune disease, processed food, additives, mycotoxins in kibble food, dewormers. So there's all these things that we actually have control over. So super important to make those changes. Some early stages, unfortunately, you don't always see this. Now, Bella, my older Brussels Griffon, she on occasion will have an upset tummy. She's an emotional dog, so I never know if it's her emotions or if it's her. And actually, before we left in November, she was vomiting bile just at night, a couple times, just a little acid reflux, nothing major. But when she went to bed, she was, she'd wake up in the middle of the night and vomit some of this bile. So I was giving her her Digestin to calm her tummy down, and it helped, but it continued for 3 days, which is unusual for her. So I ran her to the vet and we did blood work. That's my only way to know. And lo and behold, she had some elevated liver. I'm not sure why, but we detoxed her and we did her blood work 30 days later and she was all better. So GI balance, imbalances, diarrhea, constipation, vomiting, loss of appetite, weight loss, that's a huge one, excessive urination, thirst, drooling, personality changes. If all of a sudden they become super quiet, and skin problems, skin. We start with the liver. Of course, jaundice, you're really on the tail end, and of seizures, you're on the very tail end of liver failure. So here's some more support. Sprouts like clover, alfalfa, and radish sprouts are amazing to add to your diets. We add a lot of sprouts to our dog diets. The lemon, we do lemon oil, like I said, in the dog's water, little apple cider vinegar, wonderful. Greens, especially spring vegetables, spinach, broccoli, celery, asparagus. Asparagus is a prebiotic too, so that's kind of a bonus. Liver, eat liver, supports the liver. So if your dog can eat like beef liver, then maybe use dehydrated or freeze-dried beef liver treats. Great way to support the liver. Dairy foods, yogurt, we don't generally feed our dogs sour cream, butter, or cream, but if that's all you have, then you can go ahead and do that. Fermented foods, kefir, and fermented vegetables. So here's our typical kidney liver support kit, and it's pretty basic. It's just really the juniper berry, the zendecrine, it cleanses the kidney and liver, the PB assist to balance the digestive tract. DDR prime is for cellular repair, and it helps regenerate healthy cells. It causes apoptosis for damaged cells. But that's it. This is all it takes, small dog, large dog, to keep that kidney, bladder, liver clean. And then to be proactive, biannual blood work if you have a senior and a urinalysis. That's kind of your basic. Most vets offer a senior panel where you get a CBC in chemistry, a fecal, a urinalysis. Some of them include a thyroid profile. So I do that twice a year, every 6 months with my guys. Species appropriate, moisture rich diet, detox all your home cleaning, freshening products, detox your yard, chemical to natural, tighter for vaccines. If they come back and they do not have proper immunity, that's when you can go ahead and vaccinate your dog. But if they do, no need. Swap out flea and tick prevention for non-toxic solutions, swap out heartworm prevention for non-toxic solutions, which we went over in our last couple classes. Hydrate with clean filtered water, daily exercise to move the blood, no matter how old your dog is. even if it's just a little slow walk down the cul-de-sac, just to move the blood, to get those arms moving. You're moving the lymphatic system. You're moving all those toxins through the dog's body. And it's never too late to make changes. So fabric softener is one of the top causes of indoor air pollution and one of the top carcinogens. So if you're washing your pet's bed because you want that the house clean and have fresh blankies all the time, that's fabulous. But make sure you choose a non-toxic laundry detergent and then swap out those fabric softeners for a dryer ball and a essential oil. So this is my little Mia. Mia was a rescue from Safe Pet Rescue in St. Augustine. Mia, she was brought up. She was only 1 year old, and poor little Mia weighed 3 pounds, and she was spayed, wormed, vaccinated for distemper, for rabies, for kennel cough. She also had a microchip. And when we got her, she just wasn't right. After the first couple days, we brought her to the vet. You can't really see this number, but you can see she was very, very elevated. She had acute liver disease from all of that was done to her. And she was a baby, and her number was 487. And so the vet said I immediately had to put her into the emergency, and we had to pump her with fluids and this, that, and the other. And, you know, this was a foster dog, so she didn't belong to anybody. I wasn't going to spend $3,000 on her when I would send her back home and we would have our veterinarians in St. Augustine care for her. So I took her home and I told the vet I was going to wait 1 week. And what we did is we completely detoxed her with the juniper berry, the zendocrine. We put her on a raw diet, gave her the probiotics. Everything that she touched, including that cute little red sweater, her blankies, everything was washed with On Guard laundry detergent and dryer balls. The house was completely not toxic. In 1 week, her lab work went down to 87, and she was back on track. So thank you very much. I know that was very fast. It's a lot of information, but you guys will always have the replay. So feel free to take yourself off mute if you have a question.
Krista, how many drops for a 21 dog, for a dog that weighs 21 pounds, they can take?
Yep, it's 1 drop of essential oil to 4 drops of fractionated coconut oil for a 20 to 25 pound dog.
1 to 4.
Yep, 1 to 4. And you know what? I'll put in the, when I give you guys the replay, I'm gonna put I'll put the dilution chart in the replay, so you'll have that and you can save it on your computer.
Yeah, I have it, but it's hard for me to understand because they say for 10 milliliters, 1 drop. Then I don't know how many, you know, how to do the conversion really, but
yes,
1 to 4 makes more sense to me. 1 drop for every 4.
Yes, 1 drop for every 4.
Yeah.
And I even like Bella is well, she fluctuates between like 13 and 16 pounds, and I use, if she has maybe a UTI, I put 1 drop of juniper berry, and I put 4 drops of fractionated coconut oil in my hand, and I'll rub it on her tummy, and that's perfectly safe for her. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
I just saw in the chat there, wonderful class, you squished so much in. I did squish a lot in. I had so much to talk about because we're seeing so many changes right now, and I think a lot of it, like I said, is really due to all the bleach and the Lysol and the hand sanitizers, and unfortunately our cats and dogs are it's taking a toll on them. But and Chris, I know your question about the Pro, and so that's a hard one. She you know, she came that I know that you adopted her and she came that way to you, and she's been on it a long time. I'm going to reach out to Dr. Washington and ask her if she has any other solutions to help strengthen that bladder, and she may, she may have some herbs, but I'll put it on my calendar and reach out to her and see what she has to say about that. I'll reach out to Dr. Norma in St. Augustine as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, we discovered that my puppy, she has kidney dysplasia. That is why she had the urinary tract infection. One kidney doesn't work at all, and the other one had the infection. She spent 4 days in the hospital, and we had to transfer her to three different. Yes, we just got her back. We had to transfer to 3 different hospitals, and finally we go to Dr. Kerr in Punta Gorda, and he did a lot of unconventional things with laser and of course antibiotics and IVs and all those things, but he also uses steroids to decrease the inflammation and everything, and at least she's home. Let's see what the outcome. She's not out of the goods yet, but
well, and so
she's only 4 weeks old.
My daughter.
Oh, 4 months. I'm sorry, 4 months.
Yeah, my daughter has a toy Australian Shepherd who is what they classify as a double Merle, which is a kind of a lethal combination. They bred him for color, and she's going blind at a year old, but she also has 2 underdeveloped kidneys. So and very similar to yours, she wasn't well. My daughter ended up in the ER up in Jacksonville. And so some of these tips, these support tips, just really being super cautious about keeping your house incredibly non-toxic and supporting her with the lemon water and being conscious. And Sherry can help you with these dilutions. Supporting her kidneys. She'll probably be on the 30 days on, 30 days off of Zendecrine, just to really always support her kidneys, and especially the one functioning one. Now I want to say, so Lisa
we don't really know how much the function each one is, but the doctor believed that the one that didn't develop function a little bit, because the other had a big inflammation and obstruction. We hope. We'll see.
Good. Yeah. And Lisa has a dog that Riley, who that's how we met, is Riley had some liver changes years ago. And it's probably a couple of years ago. Yeah, more. And anyways, she did these exact same protocols. He's great. Yeah, he's doing awesome now. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. He is doing really well, and his levels are down, and we're continuing with the diet and with the essential oils, and everything is very successful.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay. Yep. Thank you. It's awesome.
Carrie, yes.
Hi, thanks for taking my question, and thanks for the great class. It was so much information. I've got like 3 pages of notes.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. It was fantastic. It really was. It was wonderful. Now, you mentioned the increased, frequency of finding owners that have dogs that are experiencing seizures. Yes. So that's something that is definitely I'm hearing more about here in California. Now, so people that they know I do oils, and they ask me, but by the time I hear their dogs are already medicated and stuff like that, do you have any suggestions on how to encourage them to try something, or to consider it, or to even just learn more? And where would you start?
I always start with especially somebody maybe who's not hasn't experienced natural medicine or alternative, is just make it make sense for them. Like, okay, so your dog is starting to seizure. There's a reason that they're starting to seizure. There's a reason there's a neurological disorder. So one of my big things is I always start with diet. And I start with diet because, you know, when we look at a prey model diet and then a kibble diet, I'm like, I have children. I would never feed my children cereal every day of their life, processed food. I would make sure that they got fresh whole fruits and vegetables because there's live enzymes. And people go, wow, I never thought about that. Yeah,
Exactly.
I just never thought about that. And then I what I do is I might just take like just say this is like a flea and tick product. And I might just say, you know, let's look at the ingredient on the Seresto collar. Let's look at the active ingredient on the Seresto collar and let's Google that. Let's just do it together, educate ourselves together. And so you look up the phenylephrine and find it's a neurotoxin, causes seizures, causes death. I say, well, that's probably not good for my dog. And so, okay, let me find a swap that's going to be as effective, but I'm removing that. So I honestly, I just try to make it make sense for them in the beginning. You know, for me, I have a story, and I think I don't know if you heard were you in my flea and tick class?
No, I missed that one.
Okay. So my heartworm class, and these guys know this, is that my beautiful, beautiful boy Capone was given heart guard, you know, from his vet. And it was the only thing that I used that wasn't natural because and I understand, you know, we live in Florida, heartworm is so prevalent. And even up where I live in the summer, Cape Cod, heartworm is so prevalent. Well, I split it in half and I gave half to Bella and I gave half to Capone. And he was jumping off the pool deck, having a grand old time on Saturday night. And I gave it to him at supper. And he woke up 100% blind Sunday morning. And so shame on me. That was an eye opener, is that I didn't take out the 5-foot pamphlet that one of the side effects was blindness, seizures, death, neurological disease. So, you know, and my vet said, well, Krista, it only happens to 1%. I go, yeah, but I was the 1%. It happened to my baby. So for me, and, you know, and you certainly can share that story with somebody too. I don't mind people sharing my story. That, you know, it's just, I just try to get people to educate themselves, to read the packages, to read the back of their dog food. I had a client call this afternoon. The dog has been struggling with really severe allergies. And we read the back of his dog food. It was prescribed from a vet. And I go, does that make sense to you? I said, let me read to you what's in my dog food. And I said, I've got pheasant muscle, pheasant heart, pheasant lungs, pheasant bone. And I said, that's it. And he goes, what? You know, and that made sense to him. And then he said, and I said, well, let's talk about your treats. And I said, are you giving them treats? And he goes, yep, I give them milk bones. I said, okay, let's read the back of the milk bones together. And first ingredient was wheat. He goes, oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't make sense. I said, wouldn't it make better sense to give a freeze-dried lung or a freeze-dried liver, a single ingredient that she's going to love. She's going to do backflips for her. And so anyways, to answer your question, I just try to keep it simple and make it make sense.
Thank you.
First. Yeah. All right, ladies, I am going to record, download this, get it to you. And if you have any questions, let me know. Chris, I'm going to get back to you after I talk to the vets. And Victoria, wishing you the best of luck with your baby boy. And I will see you all. Last class of this month is going to be on Thursday, and nutrition, my babe.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.